Yes, it
like
was,
this.
yes.
I'll have to have a conversation with them about that. Yeah, I'm watching them. I know you won't. I think.
Good evening. It's not on.
Now it's on. Magic.
That's why they put that switch there.
Now on?
Yes.
Okay.
You're so
Good evening, friends. I've been dreading this. I knew that it had to be done. Silence was not an option. But this is the hardest speech that I've ever written, and I have rewritten it from the beginning several times. I feel like I'm in a synagogue. I gotta leave the Zoom.
Just gotta use the Zoom. You see what your visual strong is.
I have not come today to give an angry speech, banging my hand on the shulchan. Nobody wants to see that. Our sages teach us that one who is angry is like one who has lit the fires of hell. Anger, in a case like what we have just endured. What does it mean anyway? The level of pain is so great that dumbfounded silence is the only response, as when Aaron saw his 2 children die in a ball of fire. Instead, I have come to give you a message of hope. If you want anger, go watch TV. But I do not want a house of God to become a shrine of rage, however understandable the anger might be. I won't allow it. If you are shaking with uncontrollable rage right now, I understand, believe me. But I ask that you please cool off outside. What happened on October 7th was a catastrophe, not just a terror attack. And it is a catastrophe that continues today. Israel has a moral duty to defend itself. The barbarians who committed these war crimes or who were complicit in them, whether it's 500 or 1,000 or 10,000 people, each and every one of them must face the consequences of his actions. This senseless, murderous frenzy is just the latest example of the most incurable virus in the world, anti-Semitism. There doesn't seem to be much that cures it. Democracy seems to be able to keep it on the down low most of the time, but even here, we have murderous outbursts. And make no mistake about it, anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism. It's like custodian versus janitor, attorney versus lawyer. The nameless terror group's charter, and I will not say their name because their name does not deserve to be said, their charter says that it is at war against the Jews, not against Israel. So today in Israel, parents are mourning their children. Children are mourning their parents. People are wondering whether they will ever see their captive friends again, alive. In the midst of all this suffering, you might ask, you said you were going to deliver a message of hope. Where's the hope? The hope lies in the idea that we could fight the terror with equal parts justice and mercy. Those who gleefully machine-gunned the innocent, or who did other horrific things, they must get justice, and lots of it. They deserve no mercy. But there's a problem. And the problem is that there are 2 million men, women, and children in Gaza who do not deserve the punishment. I know, I can't really believe that I'm saying it either. I mean, Gaza? Who cares about them, right? Wrong. If being a Jew is to mean anything beyond Yeh Ra Am Yisrael Chai, we must care about the Palestinians in Gaza and the West Bank. We have to help them obtain the basic necessities of life, food, water, medicine, and yes, electricity. Turning off Gaza's power, maybe it makes military sense, but I gotta tell you, not good for the Jews. This just looks bad. We have to help them because their own corrupt governments do not care about them at all. We have a Torah obligation to let Palestinians live with some dignity, and we have a Torah obligation to defend ourselves. Israel absolutely has to do both. There is no choice in the matter. But Rabbi, perhaps some of you are asking, I thought you were a Zionist. And that's exactly the point. I am a Zionist, through and through. Israel is the homeland of the Jews. Ve'en lanu eretz acheret. We have no other place. That's why we have to have mercy on the average Palestinian who just wants to go to work, come home, live a decent life. I have heard some people this week say, hey, let's just turn Gaza into a glass parking lot. Jerusalem needs a lot more parking. Believe me, I understand the sentiment. It's one born of rage after seeing the pictures you cannot unsee. Please do not look at them for your own mental health. I would be lying if I said that I didn't mutter the same thing when I saw the reports of the cruelty. But for the sake of Israel and the reputation of the Jewish people, we must show mercy to those who have not harmed us. Think of the Palestinians as neighbors who have a very serious cancer. The cancer is the violence that a small minority of their people worship as an idol. Is killing the patient the best way to kill the cancer? I suppose it works, but what's the point then? I have friends whose children are, as we speak, going into the Israel Defense Force right now. And those children are my heroes. Their parents are afraid and angry, and they have a right to be afraid and angry. There is no question that what happened is the worst day in Jewish history since the Holocaust, hands down. But leveling Gaza and creating an even bigger refugee crisis will not make Israel more safe. It will lead to more dead Jews. It will lead to more dead Israeli soldiers. It will make the situation even worse. And Israel must not take the poison bait. My fellow rabbis, when they hear this, are going to freaking lose it. They will answer back, Ech naflu hagiborim. How the mighty have fallen. Eli, how can you engage in moral equivalency? We have never done anything to the Palestinians like what they did to us on October 7th. Your speech is a shunda, an embarrassing outrage. You gonna go work for Ilan Omar now? They will also say this, have you forgotten that the Palestinians will look at your mercy as weakness and strike back? To them, I say this, I am not suggesting that there is a moral equivalency between Israel's self-defense and the barbarity of the terrorists. Of course, what the terrorists did and have done for decades is morally atrocious. This is the same group of criminals that murdered my friends Matt Eisenfeld and Sarah Duker of blessed memory for the sin of getting on the wrong bus in Jerusalem. I am merely saying that arguing over who is worse will get us nowhere. It is not enough to say that the terrorists are worse. That's like saying the sky is blue. Instead, we must also prove ourselves to be better. And as for the Palestinians thinking that mercy is weakness and that they'll attack us, maybe some of them will. People believe all kinds of nutty things. There are people right now who believe that birds aren't real, that they're government drones. But I am willing to wager that a lot of Palestinians will accept mercy with joy. If we can do for the Palestinians what their own mafia governments won't do for them, then maybe there is hope for the future. And besides, the events of the past week have shown that Jews can be savagely and brutally attacked whether we choose to be merciful or not. The lack of mercy does not defend us. Israel can have an extremely strong, armed-to-the-teeth defense and be merciful. It's a complete lie to say that those two are mutually exclusive. The Iron Dome, the Kippat Barzel, is an essential part of Israel's defense, and it has saved countless Israeli and Palestinian lives. But there is a need for another dome, the Kippat HaRachamim, the Dome of Mercy. We must find a way to deliver justice to the terrorists and mercy to the masses in Gaza. I say this because I love Israel. I fear that if Israel holds on to hatred and rage, it will become weak. How many Israelis will want to live there? The Jewish state must mix military might with mercy for the stranger, as the Torah commands over a dozen times. Israel is famous for sending in teams around the world when natural disasters like earthquakes strike. Israel can set up an inflatable, fully functioning hospital in just 24 hours. They have technology that can take drinkable water right out of the air, even in the desert. I don't have time to list all the amazing inventions that have come out of the Israeli tech sector. So don't tell me that Israel can't do something. Israelis can do anything. At the airport, they already know who you are before you get into the airport. Of course, Israel can find a way to be merciful to the vast majority of Palestinians and punish the few who are guilty. I don't know exactly how, but I know that the long-term survival of the Jewish state depends on success in this matter. Israel turned 75 this year. There have been many articles about how long nations last. And a lot of nations don't make it past 75. There is no guarantee that any nation will be around for centuries. I want to be an Israel centennial at the Kotel, at the Western Wall. The year will be 2048. Naomi and I will be in our late 70s. But I am now convinced that Israel's centennial depends on mercy, not war. Notice that I have not used the word peace yet. Peace is a bit of a fantasy right now. Peace is very, very far off. Peace is what you have between America and Canada. We can't talk about peace until we have acquired its ingredients, which are mercy, love, and patience. All the governments of the Middle East, Israel included, would benefit from a visit to our own Franklin Township. And I thank the dignitaries who have come to visit us today, especially our mayor. Here we have much lower levels of racism, anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, and hatred of all kinds than anywhere else that I have ever lived. How do we do it? We do it by being willing to listen to each other, even when it hurts. Right after the massacres in Israel, I was enraged. I wrote a regrettably angry post on my Substack blog. Then Franklin Board of Education member Sami Shaban told me that the post hurt him personally. He told me about the hell that his own family is going through in Gaza today. He told me what life was like getting strip searched at the age of 10. I was so sad. and I immediately deleted the post, which was written in a state of rage. To be honest, I had never before had the opportunity to sit face to face with a Palestinian to hear their story. I had to rip up this speech and start over 5 hours ago, but I'm glad I did. Many rabbinic speeches at vigils this week, and they will be angry, will speak of Amalek, Israel's archenemy in the desert. God commanded Israel to wipe out Amalek because they had no honor and attacked the weak. Saul lost his kingship because he was merciful to the king of Amalek. And indeed, the people who committed the horrific acts of cruelty on October 7th are citizens of Amalek, and they must be punished without mercy. But for the sake of Israel, for the sake of the Jewish people and all that is holy, we must remember that the vast, vast majority of Palestinians are not only not Amalek, they're not even our enemies at all. This is one of those forks in the road that history presents us from time to time. What Israel does over the next few days will determine its future. Will it be a place of strength and mercy, or will it be a place of endless war, one after the other? I end tonight with a prayer for the state of Israel. Avinu Shebashamayim, Holy One in heaven, stronghold and redeemer of the people Israel, bless the state of Israel, the beginning of our redemption. Shield it with your love. Spread over it the shelter of your peace. Guide its leaders and advisors with your light and your truth. Help them with your good counsel. Strengthen the hands of those who defend our holy land. Give their commanders the wisdom to know the difference between justice and revenge. Teach them that there is a time for justice to be tempered with mercy, and that time is immediately. Deliver them. Protect them from all harm. Crown their efforts with triumph. Amen.
Amen.
I'm very glad to read a letter from Pastor George Montanaro. Dear friends, I regret that I cannot be with you in person. Our two congregations have enjoyed a long friendship, beginning long before I came to Middlebush, when our houses of worship would watch each other's nursery during our respective high holy celebrations. And our clergy have always had friendships marked by high mutual respect. Now, sadly, on this night, we who used to care for children together now grieve the loss of children in Israel, and of young adults and of older adults. And our hearts lament the atrocities that our newscasts are showing us, and that your family members and friends in Israel are telling you about so much more personally. Lament. This is the feeling that has pervaded my soul from the moment I first heard of the attack on Israel, and it is the word that I shared with your rabbi. Our world has lately seen so much suffering and death, all of it needless, and all of it tragic, and all of it ungodly. And now your hearts bear the greatest portion of the sorrow from this latest barrage of inhumanity. Yes, I am angry also, enraged at the brutality of these atrocities, which has spared not even the most innocent and vulnerable of babies. But mostly my heart is broken in lament, like the prophets of old, who took their stand on the watchtower to see if evil would indeed prosper. And if that is how I feel, then I cannot imagine the greater depths of what you are feeling. Please know that I and our entire congregation of Middlebush Reformed Church share in the lament of your sorrow, of your grief, of your losses. We join you in prayer. We pray for the safety of those in Israel, for an end to this senseless and unholy violence, and for your comfort to come from God in heaven, who alone can console you in these days. And we join you in the commitment to stand against all hatred and to work for peace in every way we can. Shalom, my friends. God hold and keep you, and all whom you love. Sincerely, Pastor George Montanari, Middlebush Reformed Church. I now invite our mayor, Mayor Phil Kramer, Dr. Mayor Phil Kramer, to come forward.
The rabbi has already given me peace in two respects. The rabbi has already given me peace in two respects. This is my 5th edition of what I'm about to say. I also would like to say that I admire his courage, I respect him, I admire the speech he just wrote, and I see him as a man of God who walks the walk and talks the talk. It is not easy to say what he just said, and I agree with what he said. So thank you for inviting me to speak this evening. We come together in this moment of great sadness that envelops not only the citizens of Israel, but all peace-loving people throughout the world. The rabbi asked me to offer some words of comfort, so I'll try to stick to that. I remember the exact spot where I was standing when I first heard of 9/11. I will also always remember where I stood when I heard of this, Israel's October 7th. I remember the shock and hopelessness of 9/11 because I feel it now. What we witnessed is unfathomable. Beyond Israel, even in this country, anti-Semitism, anti-Semitic beliefs and actions are at an all-time high. How do you even begin to process what has happened? How do you console yourself? What is your strategy when the events are beyond words? These are questions worthy of a rabbi. I can only tell you what I do. I console myself by remembering the history of the nation of Israel, as is true of the history of its people, is perseverance in the face of what would seem to be insurmountable odds. I console myself by remembering here in Franklin, we are unified in our grief and stand as a community of one, opposing any anti-Semitism wherever it is felt or spoken, just as we oppose bigotry in any form. I console myself by praying and believing all peace-loving people, regardless of nationality, regardless of religion, regardless of nationality, regardless of religion, regardless of the different points of view in Israel and in Gaza and around the world, will come together in opposition to those senseless actions and to recommit ourselves to do whatever we can to oppose these actions and to unequivocally support the rights of all people to live in peace, no matter where they may be. When it comes to Franklin, we are the second most diverse municipality in New Jersey. We take great pride in that diversity. I know the good people here tonight and those watching on the video will not allow their emotions to tarnish that pride. We must respect the citizens of all nations. We must respect the citizens of Palestine as we do the citizens of Israel. May that be true for the entire peace-loving world. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Kramer, for your words of wisdom and comfort. You have a song sheet with you. It has 2 songs on it that are appropriate for a time like this. One is Isaiah 2:4, what we know as Lo Yisagoy, and the other is a famous Hasidic song called Ha'olam Kulo. We'll start with Lo Yisagoy. Lo Yisagoy el goy cheret, lo yimidu United Nations. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. Kol ha'olam kulo. Kol ha'olam kulo. Geshet zar me'od. Geshet zar me'od. Geshet zar me'od. Kol ha'olam kulo. Geshet zar me'od. Geshet zar me'od. Ve'ha'ikar, ve'ha'ikar, lo לפחד כלל. ve'ha'ikar, ve'ha'ikar, lo לפחד כלל. כל העולם כולו גשם צר מאוד, גשם צר מאוד, גשם צר מאוד. כל העולם כולו גשם צר מאוד, גשם צר מאוד. והעיקר, והעיקר, לא לפחד, לא לפחד כלל. והעיקר, והעיקר, לא לפחד כלל. Rabbi Nachman of Bratslav wrote, all the world in its entirety is a very narrow bridge. And the most important thing is to not be afraid at all. If you are comfortable doing so, I invite you to rise for the Israeli national anthem. Thank you for attending. Please do something good for someone less fortunate. I will be posting places where you can donate to places like Magen David Adom, that's Israel's Red Cross, and other appropriate charities. Thank you.
Thank you, Roger. Thank you, Roger.
Okay, Franklin, that'll do it for our coverage of the Vigil here at Temple Beth. Stay tuned. We're going to have an interview with Rabbi Eli Garfinkel. See you then.